Here we go now. So, how we're going to work this is you read through the whole start slide, get out whatever you need to get out, and then the header is the last thing that you do. Right? So when I see you writing down your header, that tells me that you're ready. And if, I just now realized that little camera doodade's going to be in the way. Of at least the header. But it disappears sometimes. Maybe. Is in Desmos. So the first thing we're going to do is in Desmos. So you may want to keep your notes out just so you can jot things down as you do your Desmos. Is jot a word that people still use? To jot things down. So go to Desmos. It's loaded. The activity is loaded in your Desmos. In my math notebook, in case you come to check it to see, does yours look like mine? I'm putting a Post-it and putting new notes on it where my new notes started. When we go to turn your notes in 2 weeks from now, you will probably do something similar, but I'll probably have you do that with the rubric. All right, so I'll hand you a rubric for February, same thing we talked about yesterday. So as we go today, please remember to take high-quality notes. Desmos is going to restrict you to the first 3 screens right now. I'm going to drag this back over here. I got Drew, I got Miriam, I got Madeline. Actually, I'm going to turn off the pacing so you can essentially complete the whole thing. But then let's go ahead and get a header on our notes. So I know I'm asking you to do 2 things at once essentially. But make sure that at some point, so you don't get caught up in Desmos and then you're behind on your notes. Actually, I'm going to let you guys keep logging in, but I'm going to pause this for a second because I want you to put a header on your notes. So if you have not yet put a header on your notes, and I think I'm going to go back to doing some of my notes in Sharpie. So equivalent expressions, a way that you can remember how to spell that is like our root, right, our stem word, equivalent, V-A-L-E-N-T, equivalent expressions. And we said yesterday, actually, that when 2 expressions are equivalent, what does that make? If you have an expression equal to another expression. If you have an expression equal to another expression. An equation. I'm not even sure who said it. I heard it from somewhere. But when you have 2 expressions equal, you end up with an equation, right? So equivalent expressions, what we're actually going to be looking at today is the distributive property and factoring. So we're going to talk about both those things, but I only have a half an hour today. But I thought it would be more fun to start on Desmos. So check out Desmos, the activity I have loaded in there for you. Everybody's in now. I appreciate that. So you're looking at Gabrielle and Kayla. I'd like you guys to type in first what you think Gabrielle may have said for their expression. And then on the next screen, it'll ask you about Kayla. Remember, there are next buttons at the top right, so you're not waiting to move on in the screen. And then we're going to talk about that expression. So if you want to go ahead and write down in your notes what you typed, you can. You don't have to yet. We'll do it together, but I'm saying you can if you feel like you're moving quickly. If you have turned in anything, submitted anything, I'm catching up on grading over the weekend. Ooh. A couple of you guys are getting really creative. Skylar, I dig what you wrote. That's great. Careful with what's an X and what's a 1. Ooh, so a couple people are struggling with that we don't have maybe like multiplication we don't use the X for anymore. So by the way, if you type in X, that's a variable. Even if you type a capital X, like that would actually be talking about a point or a vertex. So to type multiplication, I think in Desmos, if you hold shift and hit 8, the star, I think it'll turn into multiplication. Or a way that we can show multiplication is right up against what? If you put a number right against, ooh, a variable or parentheses. So I'm actually going to stop you for a second, guys. And if you're frustrated, that's why I love Desmos, because if you're frustrated when I stop you, good. So our lesson today is equivalent expressions. And what I want you to write down first is everything in blue and the red arrows. And I went ahead and wrote this down also because I really liked that somebody wrote that down, showing out the addition of a set of x plus 2 plus another set of x plus 2 plus another set of x plus 2. But what we see in the Desmos, right, is that Gabriel and Kayla have the same thing. And what it tells us is they lay it out differently, right? They set it up differently. And then when we go to express what they have, we can express it differently, although we know they have the same thing. When you get old, your hands get dry. I see you just watching me put lotion on my hands. Oh, yeah. I have many stickers on many things. My water bottle today is also filled or covered with stickers. Yeah, but it's for the puzzles. It's a brain teaser calendar, and the brain teasers don't get old. All right, I'm going to unpause you. Well, no one has solved it. And we just got back. I think I'm going to put those up on a bulletin board, actually, like a bunch of them. Oh, no, I don't use it to keep track of what day it is. It's just for the puzzles. We'll formalize this and write down some vocab in a minute. I just wanted us to play some Desmos, write a tiny bit. Play some Desmos, write a tiny bit. Hey, Victor, go ahead and move on to the next slide. There's a next arrow at the top right. Do you see that? Why we're going to have this on paper. Make sure you draw the arrows on your paper to show that multiplication. We'll talk more about that here in a second. Make sure if it's on my paper that it's on yours. So make sure that on slide 4 that you're thinking about the total tiles that we see. Sweet. All right, we've all moved on from slide 4. So the next thing I would like you to write, and you're going to notice I'm going to start to take my notes a little bit differently because I realized as I try to make sure that everyone can see that I shouldn't write for the whole width of the paper because then I can't zoom in as far. So the distributive property is what this activity is leading us to learn, and because I don't have much time today, I'm going to kind of try to force us to get there quickly. The distributive property tells us that when there is multiplication, which you can abbreviate, right? I'm trying to help you guys out and abbreviate things, or you can write it all out if you want. Multiplication by an expression distributes to all parts. And I like always, I was trying to figure out the shortest definition that I can give you guys. Because I was chatting with somebody about making worksheets for you, and I'm probably going to start to have worksheets for you to I'll have distributive property and then you write the definition. But there's a lot of research that shows that if you write something down, it cements it in your memory better than to just read it or better than to just hear it. So that's why I have us write things down. So please believe me, it's important. So on slide 4, what we were just looking at here, so I'm going to add a slide here. We could write in our notes, if we look at each row as a grouping, what's in each group? 2A plus B, right? So if we write that out, we can say we have 4 groupings of, so this is how many groups, so number of groups, I'm going to write beneath there. And then in the parentheses is what's in each group. So guys, if 4 people go to the movies and each of them buy 2 candy bars and a bucket of popcorn, this could be a way that we write that situation. 4 people all bought 2 candy bars and a bucket of popcorn. But here we're looking at tiles, but that's how we utilize this. So when we do the distribution in total, how many A's did we have? Well, what's 4 times 2A? Or if we count the A's on your screen, 8A. And how many B's did we have? 4. The reason we draw these arrows, and the reason I'm going to ask you to do that now and on the mastery that we take next week, we're probably going to take a mini mastery next week. That's 3 to 5 questions. Really short. A combining like terms, a distributive property, a factor this, which we're going to talk about factoring in a second, and that might be it. So when I say mastery, I see some of you guys look up and get big eyeballs. Now that we're back in school, mastery is just checkpoint, right? Let's get a checkpoint. If you need some extra help, come work with me and keep moving on. So I don't want to say I don't trust the Khan Academy quizzes, but I don't trust anything that's multiple choice. So the fact that there's so much multiple choice on con means I got to do some stuff that's not multiple choice. Factoring, if you are like me and want to slide over to the right. Ooh, sorry for moving that around so quickly. So my page looks like this right now, right? I'm going to put factoring right here. You don't have to have your page set up exactly like me, but you need to have this down. Factoring is the opposite. I'm going to write it, then I'm going to zoom in. Factoring is... yeah, I'm deciding how far down to put my words. Okay, I shouldn't have said breaking. You should write the word dividing. I mean, you can write breaking if you want, but... Dividing